graduated as a journalist. Why did you decide to become an actress after that?
Well, to be perfectly honest, maybe you all will understand, I was making $40 a show, 3 shows a week, watching the feed, and I thought, I think these guys have an easier job. But I miss it. I was able to write my first article in years last week, and I thought to myself, it's so rewarding to be a journalist. I really love it. But thank you for asking me that question.
I'm Chris from Switzerland. You also did the weather forecast, I guess, on the TV channel. Was it fun? And another question is the second part, in fact, do you still do volunteer work, and is it important for you to help others?
The weather for me was terrifying. Live television is so daunting. When I started, I was very young, and trying to enter through the weather was very scary, but now it's a skill that I'm really glad I've developed. And yes, I think for me, one of the most wonderful things about being able to be exposed to a lot of people is that one is asked to do basically anything you can for charity, and it's very rewarding. It's probably my most favorite aspect of my job, and at the moment I'm attempting to start my own nonprofit based on a chocolate sauce recipe that was my grandmother's, and it's going to be called Chocolate for Children, and 100% of the profits are going to go to educational and extracurricular training for foster care children. So I'm very excited about that. Thank you for asking me.
Hi Emily, I'm Tero from Finland, and in the beginning of the series I loved Callie because she was so in love with the guns. And I remember there was a scene where she went into this room filled of new guns, and she said, "Be still, my heart." So what are the things that make you say such a thing, and do you miss the old Callie?
It's interesting to think about it that way. You know, I ask every year for action. I want to do action on the show, and sometimes I get it and sometimes I don't. I did wish that I shot more. That was fun for me, so I do miss that. In real life, I spend a lot of time outdoors. I cycle. I do a lot of volunteer work, and I build houses. That's really, I say that my acting is my day job for my house building occupation. I have a crew that I work with, and I'm pretty much always doing a house. So during the year, if you see me making notes while I'm at work, I'm usually making house notes. And it's the only time I can do it is during a scene. So that's my Be Still My Heart.
I'm Niels from Norway, and
Thank you, sir.
As far as I know, you don't have any children. Would you like to have kids someday?
I am hoping that this is my year. I have my fingers crossed. And are you asking me?
I'm asking.
Perfect. Later.
All right.
Wow.
It'll be beautiful.
Good news.
Hello, I'm Carlo from the UK. The series is very graphic, the whole nature of it, you know, the kind of subject matter, gory and bloodthirsty. I mean, is it quite important to have a really good laugh on set with the people that you're working with, and how easy is it to lighten the load when you've got very heavy material to deal with?
Well, it's been my experience that people who are on comedies tend to be more serious on their set, and it's just that sort of natural equilibrium, I think. But our set is very funny. We have the guy who runs our prop department is a guy named Banner, and he is the catalyst for many a practical joke. It's constant on the show, and I think when people come to guest star, they're very surprised by what the atmosphere is actually like. But we have a blast, and I think for us that's really been the key to why we've maintained such good relationships with one another for 7 years. You know, we're starting our 8th season, we've got no problems. It's really nice. When you're with people 90 hours a week, even if you are in love with them, you usually have problems, and we've been very fortunate. But I think it's the humor.
Hi, Lily. How are you? Hi. Are you from France?
Bonjour.
Bonjour. I wanted to ask you, Lily, it seems to me that for a period of time the ratings are not going that great. African Americans, of course, still one of the top of the shows, but especially for CSI, especially since we don't put us on the show. So I just wanted to know, are you concerned about it, and how do you explain that? Is it maybe because William just left the show?
Well, you know, in all honesty, I do think that ratings go up and down. I think I've been very happy with our ratings, but I also tend to not look. My dad would call me. At the same time, I think it's a natural process. You know, something is new and you're excited about it, and then inevitably I think those things become old and you move on to something else. So, you know, are we seeing a trend that maybe people are getting tired of procedural? Possibly. Maybe they're just getting tired of the CSI franchise. I think any of it's possible, but it's inevitable that it will end, and there's probably more behind us than there is in front of us, and then there will be new things.
So back to the children.
Yes, good. And are you asking? I have one date already, but I have time. 2 more days.
Well, at the end of the season 7, towards the end of the season 7, there is a romance between Delco and Callie, and now you wish that this could be your year to get pregnant. Although these two related, and I don't see a ring in your finger, so.
Well, I understand that I'm possibly more European in my views of marriage. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to get married, but it's not my priority. I think that the Eric and Callie story would work nicely if this was my year to be pregnant, which hopefully it will be, so we'll see.
Hi, I'm Steve from Belgium. I don't know if you still do, but I read that you sing in a band, an 80s cover band. I was wondering if you perhaps could share 1 or 2 Spinal Tap moments you experienced with the band.
Well, this is the one thing I have learned from being in a band, is that sort of myth about the people who get together during the band will also break up and then break up the band. This happens to us constantly. I started the band as just sort of a funny joke, really, and just to see if we could sort of get away with murder. And then the lead singer and the lead guitarist got together. They got engaged. They've broken up. They have gotten together. And I keep writing shows, and we never get to do them because there's always some sort of problem with their relationship. So I actually just spoke with the other lead singer before I came here, and I said, I think that we should go solo. But it's not. It was really just for fun, and it's been a hoot. It's good.
Hi, Emma from England. I'd like to ask you, apart from the Callie and Eric scenario, what's coming up for Callie in season 8?
Well, we're going to open the season with Delco maybe not having made it, and this is an actuality because his contract was up, so we'll see. I think from there we're going to go deeper into our relationship, and I'm hoping for more action. I've been asking to jump out of a tall building for years, so I have my fingers crossed.
Hi. Do you see Kelly in 10 years? Do you even imagine her future?
You know, the only thing I've imagined, someone asked me earlier, she's not in here, how would I like to end my run on the show? And I think it would be very fun to have a Bonnie and Clyde shootout at the end where no one makes it. I think